dreaming of living abroad, baby, this is your sign. Hey beautiful, welcome back to Zahara's Living, where self-care meets adventure, lifestyle, and play. I'm your girl, Zahara, and today we're going to talk about one of the biggest life-changing decisions that I have made in the past 2 years, which has been to move abroad. Child, this move has been part self-care, part adventure, but 1000% a leap of faith. Okay, so today we're gonna hop into that. If you're new here, go ahead and click the notification and go ahead and like the video. Okay, give a little bit of background because I haven't done a video like this. I'm originally born and raised from New York, and prior to making the move abroad, I was living in New York for my whole life. And then I had decided, what year, 2021-ish, around 2021, 2020, that I was going to leave New York State. Now, I wasn't sure where I was going to go at the time, and then, you know, the serendipity occurs and the confirmation comes, and so I had settled down on making the move to Florida, and I just received the confirmation that I needed to make that transition. Mind you, I had only been to Tampa one time. Okay, don't watch that. Watch TV. So anyway, I decided to move from New York to Tampa, and I lived in Tampa for like three and a half years, something like that. And I'm not gonna lie, I loved Tampa, and I do plan on living bi-coastally and going there, maybe like on a quarterly basis, maybe once I get more settled here. But I'm not gonna hold you. The first year that I lived there, first of all, I got catfished. Okay, I got catfished. Okay, so I swear the apartment that I saw when I came to view apartments was not the apartment that I moved into. They got me. The property management, they got me. Okay, so boom, I was there in that apartment for 2 years, and then 2 years, yeah, I was in my initial apartment for 2 years. It was a hot mess. My rent the first year went up from $1,200. I was first paying $1,200. It went up to $1,600 the next year. No new amenities. As a matter of fact, the amenities that we had issues of their own, right? No new amenities, no new nada, nothing new. Literally just, oh, here's the extra, you gotta pay this type shit. So anyway, long story short, okay, I had intentions on making my move to come abroad like the summer that my initial lease was coming to a close. Like that was like July. I had intentions on closing out my lease then and just moving abroad, but I got myself a little caught up, okay, and ended up not planning accordingly, and eventually I ended up making the move abroad. Instead of July, I made the move abroad in end of October, November. Now, I knew when I moved from New York to Florida that it was just Florida was literally just going to be the launch pad for me to make it to move abroad. Like, it's been my vision to live abroad, you know what I mean? That's just the kind of lifestyle that I see for myself, okay? That's what I want, that's what I need. I gotta have that. I need that.
Yeah.
I have that. I gotta have that. I see that.
I want that. I gotta have that. Okay, so anyway, made the move abroad. Now, when I originally came, I was stepping out of some drama. I'm not gonna hold you, okay? So the apartment complex, I was in my initial apartment, then I had moved into another apartment complex, which was supposed to be a luxury experience. Baby, there was nothing luxury about it. Baby, I called a lawyer and got out of there. So I was there for 3 months in my new apartment. I was there for 3 months. I had so many issues. As a matter of fact, baby, I did not have a mailbox till 2 months in. My mailbox didn't have a door, so my mail was undeliverable. So I had to purchase a P.O. box. Imagine having to purchase a P.O. box when all they need to do is put that damn door on your mailbox and it's not getting done. Exactly. So anyway, along with several other issues I was having in the unit, baby, I said, they're not going to get no more out of me. I called a lawyer and got the hell out of there. Now, to provide some additional context, like I said, I left, my goal was to leave in July. I ended up leaving in October. I was laid off from my full-time job in May of 2023, okay? There was a lot going on. There was a lot going on when I was laid off in May. Something about me inwardly was just so confident that I knew something else was going to come quickly. Little did I know things would not work out how I had deluded myself to thinking, but that's okay, we move. So when I had moved into my new apartment, what I was moving with was I had savings. I received a severance package from my previous job, all right? So after they weren't holding up their end of the contract, obviously, why would I keep paying you if this is supposed to be a two-sided contract? So ended up getting a lawyer and breaking that lease. And as I was in the process of dealing with the lawyer, I said I was supposed to get out of here in July. Quite frankly, I'm about to sell this shit that I have. I sold my couch, I sold mirrors, I sold tables. Maybe I sold so much stuff. And then what I was going to keep, which was a lot of things I needed for my business, for my self-care brand, and just other lifestyle things, and whatever items that I liked but couldn't sell, I put them all in storage. The last 2 days, I was in my apartment with a mattress on the floor. Sometimes you gotta take it all away to make your next move. Sometimes it all needs to be taken away for you to make your next move, okay? So final day came. I remember I called my lawyer like a week or two prior, and I said, hey, what's tea? You haven't heard from them, I haven't heard from them, nothing's changed, nothing's fixed, I'm not paying another month of rent. She said, no, you did what you have to do. Make sure that you give them your keys and you follow up, in correspondence. So can't nobody say I didn't give nobody the keys, so I made sure I got the name of the person I gave the keys to, followed up with an email, very professional, and I never looked back. Now, when I first came to Mexico, that was last year. I was here for about 4 months. And yeah, like October, November, I left mid-February. And then when I left mid-February, I went to move to New York. But the first time that I came here, it was more like an extended stay, right? So I first came here, I booked a Airbnb for a month. And then I was like, I'll just figure out what I'm going to do while I'm there. Now, I'm going to preface this. I'm a very type A. I'm only lowercase a if there's someone else around, like my bestie. She's a Capricorn. You know what I'm saying? I know if I take a back seat, she got it. It's handled. No question. No question. But other than that, I'm very type A. Checklist, mommy, itinerary. Okay? So this was very free flow. But I was like, okay, we got an Airbnb. We have time to figure it out. It's okay. So prior to coming here, a friend of mine had told me about an app called Workaway. Now as I was here, I also learned about another one called Digital Nomads. But Workaway is essentially a platform. It's a website. They also have an app that you can download, and you can connect with other travelers, or you can connect with hosts. So I guess you can compare it for like a traveler Airbnb in a way, but like not really. And so in connecting with these hosts, you can exchange different services. So in my first day, I offered guided meditations. I also did reception work, which was cool because although it was difficult at the start, I was able to adapt to the language a lot quicker. And then ended up doing 2 stays. And then my second, well, kind of 3, because the second one transferred me to their other location, which was in Tulum. So half of my stay, so my stays were split in terms of like where I was in Mexico. And then I went to Tulum, and I ended up not staying at that where I was transferred because they were gonna make me come out of character. And I said, I didn't leave the States to step into that energy, okay? So I ended up finding another Workaway stay, went and looked at it. before I decided to make the decision to, yes, make that transition. And then, baby, within the same week, I was out of there, okay? So then I moved to the new state, and while I was there, I also exchanged doing guided meditation. And then I ended up being a tour guide. Now, someone has entrusted me to be a tour guide. If you know me, you'll get to know me, child. I really don't know how I ended up with that position. Clearly, personality takes you a long way. It takes you a long way. Listen, if you know me for real, I really have no sense of direction, honey, because I said a tour guide, and then imagine this. When I found out that the second tour is a bike tour, baby, I hadn't ridden a bike in over a decade. I said, strong bikers in the front. I'm gonna stay back here to make sure we're all together and caught up, honey. I was fighting for my life. You know what I'm saying? They say it's easy as riding a bike. That's cap. But shout out to muscle memory, okay? So we moved. I ate that job up. Everybody loved doing the tours with me, okay? So anyway, after all that, I ended up going back to the States. And if you want more context on Workaway and things like that, I definitely do have some suggestions and tips on there, but I'm just trying to move as cohesively as possible without my ADHD interrupting. Don't want to claim the ADHD, but I've been seeing her. Say hello. So anyway, after staying here till February, I ended up going back to New York. My best friend got married last year. She got married. She's a wife now, period. She got married last year, and I ended up going to New York because we had to go try on dresses. And then realistically, it would have been so dumb for me to leave New York, to come back to Mexico, to go back to New York, to go back to Mexico, to go to Arizona, to go back to New York. Like, we had so much going on in the year. So I ended up just staying with her, helping her prep for the wedding. We obviously had a few events leading up to the wedding, and honestly, things did not go how I planned it, but I'm so grateful to have spent that time with my bestie in one of the most important times of her life. Like, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Love her. And then holidays came, birthdays came, and after her birthday, I was like, honey, my deed is done. I'm going back to Mexico. So I moved back in a similar way. I booked an Airbnb for a month. And then when I got here, it was very ghetto. It was very ghetto. The Airbnb was not what I expected. As a matter of fact, I think I have like a little series on TikTok about my trials and tribulations in my first Airbnb, because they definitely tried it. Mind you, they were a Superhost, so imagine that. Imagine my surprise when I see Superhost in the comments not mathing the accommodations. The math's not mathing. I was trying to make it work, and then I said to myself, now why would you do that? Now, why would you do that? When there's too much resistance, it's a sign, okay, honey? So I ended up connecting with Airbnb after a few times of me connecting with them, because I was having a lot of issues with that host. And I ended up finding a new accommodations, and then eventually now I'm good. I'm in my spot. At least I have it for a year. Allegedly, we'll see how things go. We make plans, okay? So yeah, so now I'm here, and the reason why I have chosen Mexico, so prior to me deciding to make the move to Mexico, the reason why I chose chose Mexico was because I wanted to be living in a Spanish-speaking country. It is really important for me to learn Spanish and to be able to speak fluently. I just feel like it's useful. Like, hello, how many people speak Spanish? How many countries can I visit? Especially as like someone who loves to travel, it's super important. And someone that's in the wellness community, like, wait, baby, just wait till I can do my guided meditations all in Espanol. That's very tea. That's very tea. It's just a skill set that I feel like is overall holistically going to be for my betterment. And then I've been to Mexico several times, and every time I've come to Mexico, everywhere I've been in Mexico, I've enjoyed it. I mean, from Tulum to Cozumel to Playa del Carmen to Costa Maya to I'm missing a place or two, but you get it. But you get it. Every time I've come to Mexico, I've had a good experience. I love the culture, I love the food, the people are kind, and having come here last year for 4 months, it really just solidified that I was making the right decision. I chose here because I wanted to be somewhere that was pretty close to the US, because like I said, I do plan on rebranding my self-care business, and so I'll need to fly back at least quarterly, or if not more often, once I start things back up. So just that convenience and the culture, the food, the people, everything is 10 out of 10 out of 10. Like lifestyle, temperature, very much tea, very much no complaints, and yeah, it's been a great experience. I will say, like, I think it's really important as travelers in general that when we are travelers, however we choose to identify ourselves, that when we are making the change into different countries, different communities, that we're just intentional about how we navigate in those spaces. And so it's been amazing to learn Spanish in real time. I didn't know a lick of Spanish, but muchas gracias. However, it has been really helpful because I'm Haitian. I also speak Haitian Creole. I speak a little French and I understand a little French, and obviously I speak English, right? And so it has been a lot easier than not knowing anything and being able to pull from the other languages that I do know and that I am familiar with, and kind of finding the similarities to help me with recollection. But my mom spoke Spanish, English, French, and Creole fluently. I'm like, baby girl, how'd you miss that one? But we move. If you are at any part of your journey looking to take an extended stay abroad or out of your state, or learning to embrace solitude, learning to embrace personal adventure, learning to rewrite your story, trying to figure out and cultivate the life that you actually want versus the life that you were sold, whatever that looks like, I challenge you to bet on yourself and to take that leap. You're not going to know till you take that leap. Like, there's some things that you're going to find out that you don't like only because you tried it and you know that you don't like it now. So whatever that looks like, I implore you, I encourage you to take that leap of faith. I'll catch you next time on Zahara's Living, where self-care is sacred, life is intentional, and joy is not negotiable. Peace.